There it goes. I see it now. All right, so I should be there. You should be able to hear me now. At least I hope so. There is a bit of a delay. Ouch, that is bright as hell. There is a little bit of a delay with the audio, but I hope you guys can hear me okay. Um, if you're listening right now in the chat room, please give me a shout out that says that yes, we can hear you fine. I have to separate that, pop out chat, and then minimize that, and that should drop that. Okay, cool. All right, so there are people that can hear me, and I need to move the mic. I do apologize for this, because there we go. All right, that's a lot better. Um, I said I was going to set this up at 8 o'clock, and unfortunately I didn't. And like I said again, I apologize for not getting this up on time. The chicken took a little bit longer to cook than I thought. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give me 1 second here. It's going to get a little dimmer. Alexa, good night.
Okay.
And there goes those lights. Woohoo. By the way, I got to take this off because I don't have permission to have this logo on. But I found a shirt that works really good for the show tonight. It works good for... Dang, my show's... Just get the damn logo off. I got to remember, I have to be very careful. You found me, but you can't find the stream. Okay? All right, so what you usually do is then you go to where videos is, and then you should see one that says live, and it should show you there. It should bring you to it. So, all right. So anyway, so those of you that are on Facebook Live right now and listening to Facebook Live, I will not keep the stream on Facebook Live going for long. Okay, I'm going to be disconnecting it, and then you're gonna have to be over on YouTube. I always do a little Facebook deal first, and then I cut that off to get people to come over to the YouTube channel. So, like I said again, check it out. By the way, like I said, we have our own phone number for the studio. My newspapers got wet, which that kind of sucks, but oh well, we'll deal with it. So, anyway. Folks, welcome to the one and only Rich Wilson Show. Only 12 minutes late. That's not terrible, figuring at 1 minute after I didn't even have the equipment down off the shelf to set it up. But we're going to be doing something new with that phone call tonight as well. And then I will tell you when we open it up, and then I will read to you the phone number so then that way you can get it. The people on Facebook will not have access to hearing the phone number. So you'll have to get over on the YouTube channel in order to gain access to that. So, folks, without further ado, let me give you a quick rundown for the news for tonight. Let me make sure I got this right. Of course, we're going to talk about the coronavirus again. There's some new things about it. There's some new news that's come out. And since I have a good majority of the people, you guys are only looking at half my face over here. There we go. Since half the people that listen to my shows are probably in Texas, I want you to know that the University of Texas, Austin, has made a pretty big breakthrough when it comes to the coronavirus. And, oh, you found it. All right, cool. Anyway, they've made a pretty big breakthrough with it. Hi, baby. And it's going to be an interesting piece of news. So we've got that today. We're going to do the top 10 news. I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work out. I may not keep it. But quick breakdown or rundown of the top 10 things you really need to know. We're going to talk about bullying tonight. That's right, bullying. Big thing in the news going on. And it's, of course, it's being shot across Facebook, and it's real big. And I think it's something that we need to talk about. And then that was something, I don't know what happened to it. Oh, there it is. The other news. That's right. The news that may have not made the front page if you still read a newspaper. More like page 8 with the want ads. Or deep in the depths of Facebook. Or the internet, period. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So that and all fun and games and everything else here on the one and only Rich Wilson Show tonight. So, are you guys ready to get this started? Let's get this started, folks. You're here. You're live. We're here now. And I'm a one-man band. I'm sorry. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a delay. Oh, that was the wrong one. Oof. Oh, that's why. Oh, oof. No, we're doing it wrong. We're all over the map. Not the interwebs. Yes, the interwebs. Okay, so anyway, here we go with the intro, folks. Copyrighted violations all over the map. There it is. Like I said, I'm used to having people with me to do this stuff, so then I can focus more on what I'm doing, but instead I'm learning on how to be a one-man band, and it's not the easiest in the world, let me tell you. All right, so I got to move this over because some people are chatting over there, and they need to get their butts over to YouTube. So we can go into that. So, news for the night, the top 10 news, folks. Top 10 news, and they're not all supposed to be up, and now I've given away stuff. Yeah, evidently. What in the world? I got all this extra crap on there, and now I apologize. I really, this is about as unprofessional as it gets. Trust me. All right, so anyway, the top 10 news. I can't read this because there's not enough light on my desk. Go figure. Oh, jeez. People are going to send me messages now. All right, so hold on a second. I got to turn on the light. Alexa, good morning.
Okay.
She's a union worker. She gets around to it. All right, so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, number one thing you need to know, and I am going to talk a little bit about this because it's complete and total bullshit. But anyway, the news is running wild with it, and they need to stop. Fuck, damn people want to keep sending me a message while I'm on air. The AP Barr mulls his resignation. Of course, that's your justice dude, and they're now talking about because his back and forth with Trump. He's talking about resigning. So trust me when I say this. I'll tell you a little bit about it, and then I'm going to move on. I'm not going to dwell on this one. Because it's complete and total bullshit. All right. Rob Blagojevich as walks free. Oh, Jesus. All right. Hold on. Since nobody wants to pay attention to things, how you guys doing? I am now. The ringers are off. I don't need that going off every 5 seconds. I'm a part of like a couple groups that about this time of night they decide that if one person says boo, then they need 97 different comments to it. Anyway, Rob Blagojevich, the former senator out of Illinois, and anyway, he got free. He's been let go. He's a former governor of Illinois, and Donald Trump commuted his sentence. The only thing you need to know about that story, folks, is the fact is what I find is funny is he's an Obama guy, okay, strict Obama guy. And Trump released him or commuted his sentence. And I hate that move. That was incredibly stupid and moronic for our president to do. I don't think that man should have been let out of prison. But anyway, they did. The left went nuts and decided to say that, oh, now he's a Trump guy. This guy's a lifelong Democrat. He's a liberal Democrat. And now he's suddenly a Trump guy. I'm just wondering if a Democratic president would have commuted his sentence, would they have been celebrating his praises for letting the guy go because he was like, the punishment was cruel and unusual? I mean, if you want to talk about a story that obviously proves there's political sidedness in the media, that's it. Lifelong liberal Democrat was commuted by the president of the United States, who's a Republican, and now they're saying that Blagojevich is going to be one of Trump's guys. He's already said he doesn't want to do anything with the president. He doesn't like the president. But he thanked him for commuting his sentence anyway. Go figure. All right, so where are we at here? I'm not going to really do that story. Where there was symbolic flight amid war, commercial flight from Damascus carrying Syrian officials and journalist, and it's a bunch of nonsense that nobody really needs to know about. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be doing this again because I got this. I got the top 10 things you need to know in the news, and some of this doesn't mean a damn thing to you, and I'm not even really going to go over it. Just know there was something important about a plane from Damascus. Somebody's probably going to get pissed off at me and say, "Oh, you should have told about those people matter." Okay, there's nothing of any real thing here except for a historical flight. Blah 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 blah. Okay, into the heat of the battle, the heat of the debate battle in Las Vegas. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about a pack of crazed dogs going over after a wounded cat? Yes, I stole that from Jeff Foxworthy. Bloomberg. This was the first time Bloomberg was on stage in a debate, and of course, they'll all tell you he wasn't supposed to be there because he didn't have the numbers to qualify for the debate, but he had the money. And they went to hell after him. You want to talk about them? The whole night, it was pretty much them ripping him to shreds. There was some attacks at Bernie, but not really much. And Elizabeth Warren, I mean, dropped the mic moment during that debate. She really made him sound like crap. By the way, that's not me coughing, and I'm not doing ventriloquism. That's Jackal over there coughing up a storm. But worst case scenario, I'm voting for McAfee. I mean, well, you can. I mean, hell, at this point, if I was a Democrat, I would probably be going for. I'll remember who in a second. I really will. Oh yeah, I forgot to do something. Was it this one? No, I think it was that one. Or was it that one? I don't remember. Oh, it's that one. I knew I was forgetting something. I knew it was. No, not that one. Not that one. Okay, so that one. That's Rob Blagojevich, by the way. Sorry, I forgot that. Sorry, just dying. Don't mind me. No, don't die in my house. Get the hell out. If you're going to die, go out in the yard. So that way all I got to do is kick some dirt on you and put a little stick up and say, here he died. Yeah, so, I mean, they trashed the hell out of Bloomberg. But Bloomberg, yes, he is literally 20 feet away from me. But they did. They attacked the hell out of the man. And the man couldn't answer questions. I mean, he's made some racist statements. He's made some sexist statements. And he just couldn't answer any questions. It was ridiculous. Yep. Yeah, absolutely, Chase. Yeah, so anyway, he made some ridiculous statements. And, I mean, just ridiculous. And he just couldn't answer for him. I will tell you right now that he had 12 people that he was paying $180,000 each to be on his debate team to coach him through it. We'll guarantee you all of those people are currently looking for a job. One of the big moments of that and then I'm going to move on to another story because I really don't want to get into the debate. The debate really doesn't do anything. All they did was attack each other, and they never really said much. The one thing that I will say that I thought was interesting was when Elizabeth Warren went after him and said, "Are you going to allow the females that have worked for you to ignore the non-disclosure agreement that you have with them so we can find out what kind of a real person you are?" Because there's been a couple women that have worked for him that have come out and said things about things that he's done. Of course, sexual harassment and all that. Well, the thing is all the ones that are currently working for him and any of them that quit working for him, I believe it's up to 20 years ago, have a non-disclosure agreement where they can't talk about even working there, or they can get sued and lose a hell of a lot of money. So, in that note, and Elizabeth Warren said, "Are you going to allow them to release a non-disclosure agreement so they can tell people what they got to say?" And he stuttered and said things, and it was nonsensical, and he sounded like a complete idiot. However, here's the problem: if they go to a brokered convention for the Democratic Party, you could probably see Bloomberg as the nominee. Because I will tell you right now, and I hate to burst your bubble, and I know that I have friends that support Bernie Sanders. Okay, I personally do not, and the reason why I don't is because I don't hide this. I've done the numbers on what he said that he wants to do, and I'm sorry, the numbers don't add up. What the numbers add up to is the country in bankruptcy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like we're not on the road to it now. It's just the bankruptcy would come a whole lot faster. And like I said, I've done the numbers myself. Now, I have other people say they don't, But when you come up with the amount of money for the projected cost of all these programs that he wants to do, even if you tax people to 70% level, sorry, it doesn't, the numbers don't add up. There's not enough wealthy people in this country to pay for every one of those programs unless they lost everything, and then it would still go into the middle class. Because here's the problem. The $170 trillion is one thing. Maintaining it is another. Okay? And that's the cost that nobody's really talking about, is the maintaining it part. But that's not what I really want to talk about. We will get into Bernie Sanders on another show. We'll get into all the presidential candidates. Because I actually like Buttigieg, believe it or not. If I was to vote Democratic, I actually kind of like Buttigieg. He's a little eccentric and a little off, but, out of all of them, at least he doesn't. At least he makes some sense, and he's really made it a point to say, I want to work on both sides of the aisle, because the only way all this works is if we go, if we all work together, and see, that's the problem we're having now, is nobody's working together. Somehow things have gotten better. They haven't gotten as good as everybody says they are, but they have gotten a little bit better. Because I don't buy into he's done everything in the world. I don't believe in that the president of the United States currently has done everything that he promised he's going to do. There is a bunch of smoke and mirrors there, but he has done a bunch of other things that he said he would do. So his track record is not as big as they like to say it is. His track record's not as bad as the other side likes to say it is. That sneezing or blowing nose. That's what that sound is. So it's kind of fair to middle, and it's kind of in the middle. Okay, so Mike, are you saying that that's 27 different cases of sexual harassment against Bloomberg, or are you talking about the president of the United States? Because, reportedly Bloomberg's going to be supposedly somewhere up around in the hundreds. But anyway, back to what I was saying about the whole brokered convention. Okay, the Democratic establishment, okay, does not want Bernie Sanders. They've made it very obvious. They can tell you that they're all about fairness and wanting to count the votes and everything else, but they have done everything in their power to try and put things in Bernie Sanders' way. Okay. Proof in point was the last election. Look what they did to the man. He was beating Hillary Clinton, and then all of a sudden he lost out of nowhere. The whole system, the way they got it, the Democrats got their system set up that the nominee that you get is the one they want you to have. So trust me when I say this, for all of my friends that are Bernie Sanders supporters, keep an eye out, because something's going to happen. If they go to a brokered convention, something is going to happen where you're not going to see Bernie Sanders as the nominee to run against Trump. It's just not going to happen. They've made it, like I said, they've made it very, very clear that they do not want Bernie Sanders. Pelosi has made it very clear. Schumer's made it clear. Schiff really hasn't said anything about it. To be fair, that's also the same with the Republicans. Yes, the Republicans do, for the most part, but if you followed... Okay, so you were talking about Bloomberg. Okay. So, anyway, like I said again, when it comes to that, the Republican system is easier to follow. Exactly how they go through their nomination process, and the one thing they don't do is they don't do the super delegate thing like the Democrats do. That's a little bit of a different thing. So it's a little harder for them to rig it for the person they want, because trust me, the Republican Party did not want Donald Trump. I actually wasn't going to vote for him. I was thinking he was going to get eliminated, but he didn't. But like I said, it's a little bit more difficult. Watching Mr. last night, it would not be the first time the convention was rigged. Happened in FDR's last term. That is correct. In FDR's last term, it was also rigged during a brokered convention deal. Harry Reid came out today and was talking about how, this ain't the first time we would have had a brokered convention, and they usually work out pretty good. Well, no, Harry Reid, they don't. One of the reasons why I'm glad I don't live in the state of Nevada anymore is I don't have to worry about hearing tidbits of the retired Harry Reid, who's a worthless dirtbag, who claimed that he comes from poor. He's a poor person from Nevada, just trying to represent you in the Senate, when his ass made over $480 million after taxes. $480 million. Yeah, so just saying. Just being a senator. $480 million. Being a senator. Go figure. Of course, then again, all of them make money. Somebody was having a discussion today on one of their Facebook pages, and they were trying to say that, oh, you know, this guy, and this guy is a crook, but the rest of them aren't. Folks, let me give you a piece of advice for some of you that may be naive when it comes to politics. Okay, do you know how to tell when a politician is lying or he's trying to steal something from you? 1, he's shaking your hand, and 2, his lips are moving. That means he's lying to you, and he's trying to steal something. Okay? So, I mean, and that's politics. I mean, politicians are lawyers that are a hybrid of a lawyer with a used car salesman. They really are. They're a combination of the two. All of them are that way. I plan on running for office one day. By the way, that's my cat in the background. That's over here. There's Patches. I plan on running for office one day. I'm going to start with county council. Then I'm going to run over to city. And then I plan on running for state assembly, and then hopefully I'm going to run for Congress. And the reason why I want to get to Congress is because I want to fix the goddamn VA system. Not to mention the fact I want to do a couple other things, but I really want to fix the VA system. And one day we'll get into that debate. So anyway, I don't want to beat this into the ground. But like I said, for those of you that are Bernie Sanders supporters, I wish you the best of luck. But right now, the Democratic Party doesn't want him. Because and here's your first clue that the Democrat Party does not want Bernie Sanders. Okay, they keep bringing up the fact that he's not an actual Democrat. They keep reminding you of that. Am I going to beat my opponent with a cane? I might have to. But if the party keeps reminding you that somebody's not a Democrat, that means the party doesn't actually support that person. Just so you know that. Remember when Trump was running against the other Republicans for the nomination? The Republican Party kept reminding you that he hasn't been a Republican his entire life. He was actually a Democrat for a long time. That's your indication that your party doesn't even want this person to be their representative. Okay? If they constantly remind you of that fact, and they do, they remind you that Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. So that, like I said, that's your indicator. But anyway, that's, people can change parties if they want. I've met people that, have switched parties, and, they said, well, this party works more for my mentality now than the other did, So, I mean, switching a party is not a big deal. But if the party reminds you of something they're not, or they haven't been their whole life, it's because they don't support them. Just so you know. So the next time somebody brings up that Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat, and they are a Democrat, or they are a lifelong Democrat, that's them telling you that they don't support him. Okay? Just remember that. Pelosi has made it very, very clear many, many times that Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. It's unfortunate. I mean, he may be one of the oldest people running, but I mean, hell, I don't even want to talk about Biden. I grew up in Delaware. Trust me, I could spend 7 hours talking about Joe Biden. If he's the nominee, God help us all. I swear to God, I think that the only reason why he became the vice president is because he happened to beat President Barack Obama in a poker game, and he owed him money. Because Joe needs to retire and be done with politics. He just really does. So anyway, all right, let's move on after that one. I think I need glasses. All right, so this one's going to be a little... some of y'all aren't going to understand this. Some of you might. So I'll give you a little bit of a background. Oh, that was the wrong button. I'll give you a little bit of background. During the 1800s, Republicans, while using the same name, were completely different parties, so it's possible to not change your opinions but change parties. Well, I understand that the Republican and the Democrat parties that we have today are not the same parties we had 100 years ago. I completely understand that, and I'm not going to argue that. Okay. It's kind of like, people were like, oh, well, it was the Democrats that had slavery. If you look at the Democrat and the Republican Party, the deep Southern Democrats were actually Republicans. If you look at the structure of the parties today, that was actually the Republican Party. I mean, when people try to argue that, it's like, dude, it's a matter of actual fact. It's not opinion. You look at the standpoint and the standards of the Republican Party today and the Democratic Party today. The Republican Party, let's just say Abraham Lincoln's time. The Republican Party is actually the Democrats that we have now, and the Democrat Party, or the Republican Party then was the was the Democrats we had. Okay, so if you take Abraham Lincoln's time, then I apologize, and you take the Republicans and the Democrats and flip them, but keep the names the same. Okay. So the Republicans during Abraham Lincoln was actually the Democrats of the day. The Democrats during Abraham Lincoln's time are the Republicans of the day. Okay. And me being a Republican, I'm an independent. I'm more of an independent than I am, but I have a tendency to have more conservative values than I do liberal. But I don't try to hide that the Republicans were some nasty bastards back in the day. They really were. The Democrats back in the day, but they became Republicans now. And the party's got a lot of work to clean itself up on that. Okay, I'll just tell you that right now. Sorry, not sorry. Well, you don't have to be sorry for putting up facts up on the chat room. If you put something up in the chat and it's fact, then you're fine. If you put something up that's fake, then you're wrong. But I'm pretty sure you're sorry for blowing your nose back there, because I'm pretty sure everybody heard it. All right, so let me go into what this one is. I think it should be that image. Yes, it is. All right, so now Jackal's walking behind me. This is a professional operation here, isn't it? All right, so you notice I just put the country of Yemen up on the board there. By the way, for those of you that are watching on Facebook, you might want to go over to YouTube and check this out, because as soon as I get done reading through the quick top 10 news and then I get into the stories of the day, you're not going to be on the feed anymore. If you scroll through the chat room, you'll find a link that takes you over to the Facebook page, and then get in the chat and be a part of the conversation. All right, so when the money doesn't come, people die. Okay, so here's what you got going on over there, and a lot of people, this isn't making headlines in a lot of places, and I don't know why. Because it should. It's kind of important when you're talking about millions of people that could be dying. Just saying. But I know everybody's worried about the coronavirus. So nobody cares about the Yemenians. The Yemenians. I can never get that right. The people of Yemen dying or starving to death. For some reason, I don't know why. And Stephanie Rose is watching over on Facebook. You're going to want to pay attention to when I get into the coronavirus. You'll need to know some things. Anyway, when the money doesn't come, people die. As the Yemens go hungry, many food deliveries have been blocked as Houthi rebels demand the UN give them a cut of the $1 billion in international money. Okay. So what's happened is the UN is trying to send in money for aid for the Yemens, okay? And you have the Houthi rebels is keeping stuff from getting into them and keeping them from getting food and keeping them from getting money for supplies and stuff like that. These people are going to start starving to death. However, the Houthis are saying, and I believe that's how you pronounce it. I could be completely wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. No, sorry, Houthi. I was wrong. The Houthi rebels are preventing everything from getting there, and then they're demanding all the financial aid that the countries have put together for the Yemens. Okay, so they're stopping these people from getting food and getting medical attention and getting facilities for sanitary purposes and stuff like that, and it's going to start causing those people to start dying in large quantities. I mean, if you're so concerned about the coronavirus and thinking it's killing a lot of people, wait until this starts hitting hard over there. And I'm pretty sure then at that point, I guess at that point somebody will care. I don't know, but it's definitely not something that's really been hitting hard in the news, and I think it's something that needs to be brought attention to. You know, the Yemen people don't have a hell of a lot to begin with, and then they've got rebels that are preventing people from getting what they need. And I'm sorry that it's not. I guess it's because it's not a major Middle Eastern country to the level of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, I guess is why it doesn't really make the news. I don't know. But you're talking about millions and millions of people possibly dying of starvation and lack of medical attention. And nobody really seems to, and I'm not saying it's you people that don't seem to care. It's the media doesn't really seem to really care that much. The AP covered it. Okay, the AP covered it, but I haven't heard it in my other news. All I've heard about is Democratic debate. I've heard about everybody mad about Blagojevich, Roger Stone, coronavirus, and 12 people getting shot and killed in Germany today by a guy who was a right-wing extremist. But yet, millions of people are going to die if something is not done. Millions. You know, just some food for thought about the major media going, you know, you think you might want to cover this? Because, folks, some of our money has been sent there to relieve them. So it's some of your money, some of your tax money is gone over there. I mean, seriously. So your money's involved. You have a stake in the game. But they're not covering it. Anyway, I really hope for those people. But the thing is, understand that this is a long-going, multi-generational thing with the Houthis. Okay? It's not like they popped up yesterday with a bunch of Toyotas with fully automatic weapons on the back of them. Okay? Why can't they replace fluff with peace of something important? Because the problem is the average American. The average American is led around by how the media tells you to lead. I read you the stories that give you my opinions on it, and then I ask for your opinion back on it, and we have a discussion. And we see where we can go from there. I'm not going to shove what I think is truth down your throat. Okay? I'm not going to tell you how you should think. I'm going to tell you what the story is, and I'll give you my opinion on it. Like the story at the top of the page. By the way, that's Mike that just walked through the shot. But you know, and then we could discuss it and go from there. Okay. But like I said, you know, this is something that I feel that is important and that you should know, and that's why I'm covering it. So take it as me. Do me a favor, research it, and see it for yourself. It's pretty damn bad. All right, so here's the other thing. Hearing only what they want to hear and hearing only what they've heard. Yeah. Okay, so here's another thing. So these Yemen drones that have been linked to Iran. Okay, the Yemenis, and that's what I realize they pronounce it a little bit different. Have been selling off stuff in wholesale to try and pay for things, and now they're finding out that the drones that Iran used to attack the oil fields in Saudi Arabia were Yemenis drones. Because, and do you see where this is going? These people are you serious? I can hear you in the mic. Learn how to use sign language. So anyway, as I was saying, they're selling off stuff in wholesale to be able to pay for the things they need. And now the Iranians are getting a hold of weapons from them. Like, we don't have enough problems with the Iranians as it is. So, I mean, that's why I put that story in there, just to link it to the previous one. So, understand what type of problem you're dealing with. Sorry for the people on Facebook Live that are watching this before I cut the Facebook Live off. Remind you of the fall of the Soviet Union. Yes, it does. And you remember how much of a disaster that is, and quite a bit of equipment that the terrorists had on them for quite a while came from the fall of the Soviet Union. Ex-Australian leader discloses Flight 370 theory. Okay, so this is the flight over. This is the Malaysian flight that disappeared. I don't know if anybody of you remember that. The Flight 370, the Malaysian Airlines flight that went missing, and they went searching for it. It was all over the news. They had every boat on the planet looking for it over the ocean. They thought it crashed. They found it crashed in the ocean and everything else. All right, so I don't know why this is horrifically important, but, and I do believe this fits along with a lot of other people's theories. Ex-Australian foot leader discloses this. Tony Abbott claims that government officials suspected that the vanishing of the Malaysian Airlines jetliner almost 6 years ago was a mass murder-suicide. It's not the first time I've heard that theory. However, now there's information that's starting to come out about this that's saying that government officials found these out in investigations, and then we're trying to cover this up. I think it's a little scary that you have a pilot that decides that he wants to commit suicide and kill 270. I think it was 272 on that plane. I'm sure one of my fans will Google it. I don't know if they will or not, but they figure that he nosedived the plane and crashed it. Okay. But that was just a theory. They couldn't find any evidence to back that theory up. So it's just one of the many theories of what happened. Engine failure, wing flying off, bird strikes, you name it. Were all theories, but they never 100% proved it. Well, now you have an ex-Australian leader, Abbott, saying that no, they know that information is out there, or the information is there. It's just hidden. That they verified that this is what's going on. So if you've got, I think 3 different countries were involved with this, and they're all covering it up, isn't it a little scary to think that? You get a pilot decides he wants to kill everybody, the family doesn't get closure because they tell you that, oh, well, we don't know. When actually they do know. I mean, if you had a family member that was overseas right now flying in a plane and the pilot decided to commit suicide and take all of them with him, wouldn't you at least at some point want to know? I mean, it doesn't bring them back, I know, but it at least bring you some kind of closure if you know why it happened. But then you got 3 major countries that are covering up the details about it because they evidently don't want to tell you, which I can't figure out why they don't want to tell you. The only thing I can figure is it keeps Malaysian Airs and I believe Boeing from having to pay for wrongful death. Oh, please God, don't do that now. My antivirus decided it wanted to do a thorough scan of my computer, and I don't have it scheduled. I do it every single week. Go figure. All right, so let's move on from that. Robert Durst being tried for an old murder, being tried again. This ain't the first time he's been tried for this. The last time the jury came back, they couldn't figure it out. Anyway, supposedly now, the eccentric real estate heir, now 76, is accused of fatally shooting his best friend in 2000 to keep her silent about the disappearance and presumed 1982 killing of his wife. Remember, he was put on trial for his wife, and they didn't find him guilty. And everybody believed that he did it, and then supposedly he told this person that, and then killed them. Because, I mean, if you think about it, the breakdown of it all, right? If more than one person knows that you've killed somebody, then you have a potential of getting caught. I mean, you also have a potential of getting caught regardless, but still. Okay, but if you have somebody that's living that knows that you've killed somebody, they could talk. So what do? Well, go for a freaking swim in a freaking river with some cement shoes. That's what we freaking do to them. Yeah. Freaking send them down the creek. A little Jimmy swimming with the fishes there. So anyway, so Durst is on trial again. Now let's see if the prosecution screws this one up too. All right, and now in the final of my top 10 news for tonight, and this one I think is rather interesting, and I kind of like this, and and quite personally, it was an absolute tragedy when we lost Whitney Houston, and I get it. Some people are like, well, good riddance, she was on crack and everything else. I'm sorry. I was upset with her. Loved her voice. She had an amazing voice. She was an amazing talent. We lost her way too soon to drug addiction. Anywho, wow, we just hit the right time. 8 years after the singer's death, a holographic Whitney Houston will appear on the stage again with the European tour and U.S. dates expected to follow. So Whitney Houston, dead, back on tour. And that's your top 10 things you should know. If you have any questions or comments about it or anything like that, feel free in the chat room over here to say something about it. By the way, like I said, for those of you watching on Facebook, this is where we say goodbye, and we go strictly to YouTube. So, folks, if you scroll down through the comments, you'll find the link to YouTube. Click on it, get over here, be a part of the conversation. Otherwise, we're done. So, for on Facebook, people on YouTube, we're not going anywhere. I say goodbye. So, have a good night. Hopefully, we see you over here. And now that thing. All right, so now let's talk about the coronavirus, shall we? Because there's been some breakthroughs, and I'm going to. There it is. Yay! I hit the right one. Woo! All right. So anyway, let's do a quick little recap of everything we know. Of course, Wuhan, China is where it came from. Okay. That might have been too fast for some of y'all. Like y'all like to do the complaints about the damn subtitles in my Japanese movie are moving too fast and I can't read it. So yeah, Wuhan, China. It's right there on the map. Take a look. It's right there. Anyway, so we know that. Can we start drinking Corona beer again? Yes. Okay. So I covered this in the last one, but I'll bring this up again. Actually, sales for Corona beer. Yes, Corona beer has actually raised in sales again, but still to this day, people are still getting it wrong. They go to Google search the coronavirus, and they can't seem to find it. Or they screw up and they just search for Corona. What the hell? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Facebook, when you stop your live, he likes to replay it. Freaking buttholes. Okay, cool. There, it's shared. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Anyway, I gotta have a drink. Anyway. Real quick, for the people, since people on Facebook, I did want to tell you about my t-shirt that I got, for the show. I like this shirt. Hold on. I gotta move out of the way of the camera. Anyway, I think it sums it up. And, no, and now I've lost everything. Okay, there it goes. I couldn't hear anything. I'm pretty sure you heard it. Remember that there's a delay in this, so you're hearing it in the background, and then it's propagating through the feed about a good 30 seconds later. All right, so where were we? So on the Corona beer, they all they've been doing is searching Corona and then getting beer results, and then they automatically are starting to think that Corona beer gives them the coronavirus. Another thing that's gotten ridiculous, I posted this on my Facebook. One of the things that's been really irritating the ever-living hell out of me is people saying that they're not going to eat Chinese food or go to, Chinese places here in the United States of America, like Chinatown, or go to a Chinese restaurant. Let me make something perfectly clear with you, okay? Because I've made deliveries to Chinese restaurants. I made deliveries to a lot of different places that are Chinese-oriented. So their food is packaged in the United States of Mexico. Okay. Now, I know, because I had somebody argue with me and say, but Rich, it has Chinese lettering on it. That means it comes from China. No, it doesn't, because if you actually pick up the box and look at it, it has a U.S. customs stamp on it with point of origin is Mexico. So, I forgot which city in Mexico it is. It's a particular city. And the other one is usually somewhere in California, or if there's not a U.S. customs stamp on it. And because if it doesn't have a U.S. customs stamp, that means it was grown and it was packaged here in the United States of America. So then all it has to have is the agricultural stamp on it. Okay. It doesn't have to have a customs inspection stamp on it. The packaging, they put the Chinese letter on it because they know that it's going to a place of business that is run or owned by Chinese, and so that way they know when the boxes come in, they're able to easily identify them. Okay, and they're able to put them in their restaurants or their grocery stores appropriately. Okay, we do not get very much food from China. We don't. We get some stuff. I mean, but we don't get a huge amount of it. And the stuff that we do get, they've already said that this virus is not a problem of it making it over here because the amount of time that it takes to get shipped from China to the United States, go through customs, once it's done with customs, go to a distribution center, from a distribution center to go out to a terminal area, from a terminal area to go onto a truck to get it out to the store where it needs to go. The virus won't be alive anymore. Okay. However, what I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't wash your fruits and vegetables. I'm not going to tell you to not wash your hands. I'm not going to tell you to not take showers. I will tell you if you get the anthrax vaccination shots, evidently you're immune to the virus. Go figure. Something I did in the Army paid off. I don't know. I was reading a CDC website, and they were talking about different vaccinations that you could have possibly received in your lifetime that could make you no longer susceptible to getting this strain of the coronavirus, and the anthrax vaccination was on the list. And I'm like, joy. So that means I get to ride an airplane without a mask on. Well, here's the thing about that, and that's why I'm glad you're over here on the YouTube page. I understand your stance on it, and I respect your stance on this issue. However, if the CDC and the WHO organization gets the agreement from the U.S. government, if the President of the United States and the House of Representatives agree, along with their recommendation, that we have to be vaccinated to stop the spread of this because people are dying, like, quickly, then if you refuse to vaccinate yourself, you can be imprisoned for this. I got all three of them. Because when I went through, it was three of them, and the last one put me in the hospital for a while. But you can actually be considered endangering the public. Now, I know there's the people that don't do the measles stuff, and everybody likes to say, oh my God, you're killing our kids and my kids and everything else, and that's not true. That's blown way out of damn proportion. But this is a virus. That's right. Yours was 7. Ours was the initial testing phase vaccinations for anthrax, and it was 3. It was a much more concentrated, and they realized they needed to break it down into 7. I think it's still 7. It might be 10 now. But it was 3, so that's why a lot of us ended up on the 3rd shot. A lot of us ended up in the hospital because of it. Yeah, because right after us, then they moved it to. Then they spread it out to 4. Then it went from 4 to 7. So anyway, you can be considered a danger to the public at that point, and they could incarcerate you for it. They literally can. It's not a violation of your rights, because if the federal government all agrees that you have become a danger to the public because you are refusing to get a protection to protect the public from death, they can incarcerate you for it. I know that's not something you want to hear, because like I said, I know your stance. I respect your stance on things. However, like I said, and I'm going to read about the coronavirus and some of the newer updates about it now. Okay, so we know that the coronavirus, just like SARS and everything else, are all coronaviruses. Okay, this one here is called COVID-19 is what this one's called. You have over 75,000 people now that are confirmed. Are you sure they won't send you to FEMA camps instead? Well, they could send you to a military installation and put you on lockdown until they guarantee that the virus has been eradicated from the face of the earth, and then they don't have to worry about you spreading anymore, and then they could release you, but that could be 250 years. Okay, I'm just telling you, what the federal government has the right to do if the CDC does declare that it has become a problem in the United States of America, and they have a vaccination for it, and if people refuse to vaccinate, they can incarcerate you for it because they consider you a danger to the public at large at being able to spread a pathogen that can kill lots of people. Like, trust me, if the zombie virus happened tomorrow and they came out with a vaccination that stopped it, I hope they incarcerate the people that don't want to do it, because we've all seen every movie on exactly how that crap spreads. It only takes one in the wrong place, like a mall. Well, I mean, malls aren't that big of a thing anymore. They used to be. Vaccine sheds and spreads. Well, that's going to kill me. That's going to bug the ever-living hell out of me because it's a bug. I actually have not gotten a flu shot in 4 years, and believe it or not, I haven't gotten the flu. I used to get it religiously, always got sick. I haven't gotten a vaccine in 4 years. I haven't gotten the flu. I don't know. Of course, then again, I like to tell people, oh, this sickness is going to kill everybody. And I look and go, I got freaking anthrax. My anthrax will eat it. It will not bother me at all. That's like, I'm hoping when I fly to Texas in a couple weeks that everybody's wearing masks and they're all concerned, and I get to walk on without a mask and go, aren't you worried about the coronavirus? Go, no, my anthrax will eat it. I just want to see the look on the people's faces on the plane. And when I tell them I have anthrax, I just want to see the look on their face. Because technically, if you've had the anthrax shots, and I think it's if you got up to 4 or 5, you have a dead strain of anthrax in your system. So you have anthrax, just not a living one. And I just can't, like I said, I can't wait to see the look on somebody's face. Go, you don't have a mask on, aren't you concerned? No, I have anthrax. It will kill it. Just so I can see the look in the fear in their faces. Drago, I would look that up to see at what point in your vaccination do you actually receive the dead virus. I believe, like I said, number 4. It when they spread it out, because we got it in number 2, but then they spread it out, and I believe it became number 4. And you said you did 4 or 7, so I think you're good. I think you have anthrax. So congratulations, Drago. You have anthrax. It's kind of like AOL. Remember, you got mail. Instead, it goes ding. You got anthrax. That's why it's not entirely effective. Flu shot only last year's is only last year's strand. Yeah, because every year the flu changes. Okay, so anyway, this is the right story. But so 75,000 people have contracted this. This month, China announced a major increase in the number of new coronaviruses. Has now, wow, my printer cut off half the word. It was now dubbed COVID-19. In one day, the reported increase was about 14,000 cases. Okay, so before we all start running for the hills, the reason why the sudden increase of 14,000 cases, and that was a couple days ago, that story is a couple days old, was because they're getting a lot better perfecting a way to be able to determine on whether you got it, and these were people that they thought may or may not have it, and now their way of testing it is becoming more effective. So these people probably already had it. It's not like they just contracted it. However, I will say in the news that the rate of infection in China, according to what is stated now, then again, we're talking about the Chinese, we don't know if we can believe them, has actually dropped slightly. The percentage of people getting infected every day has dropped. However, in Japan, it's starting to increase. Okay. And I feel sorry for those people on that cruise, being stuck on that thing. And now you've had 2 Japanese, they were elderly people, but died. And you've got many more on that cruise ship that are infected, and the infection rate goes up. And it's because you're locked in a confined space. Now they're finally starting to let some people that are continuously testing negative to go, but they still have people locked on there. We have people in quarantine zones in 8 military installations in the United States right now. And then after they get the clearance, after the CDC says, yeah, you passed your date, you're good, then you can go on your way. Me personally, I wouldn't care. I've used to live on military installations. They want to put me on a military installation again. Just be like old times. It's like riding a bike. Eventually you fall off. You'll get back on it, and instead of falling off, you'll run out into traffic. Either or, it's still the same. I think, maybe not. Who knows? I stay off of bikes. I'm old. I'm crippled. I don't want to be on a bike. You want to see something hilarious? This guy on a bike. Motorcycle? Now that's fine. I can do that. But bicycle? Mm-mm. This ain't no Queen. I like to ride my bicycle. Mm-mm. Not happening. So anyway, the dramatic increase is due in part of the shift to how the virus is being diagnosed, like I told you. Okay, so that's next paragraph. I've already informed you. See? Open your mind. Come with me on a journey, and I will get it. Yeah, I really need... Thanks for poking at my knee injury. But, well, it's not an injury now. It's just my knee is shot. So it's no longer just an injury. It's damaged permanently. But yeah, let's go with me on a journey, and I will waken you. Not really. I probably make you dumber after this is over than when we started. Believe it or not. I've had somebody say that when I had my radio show before. They said, I really feel more like my stupidity increased listening to your show, but it was entertaining. Hey, there you go. So anyway, now here's the cool part about what you guys need to do, what you guys need to know. And this is the update about the coronavirus, because a lot of stuff I just told you, kind of rehashing, changing the numbers a little bit because they've changed. Other than that, it's probably shit you already know. Researchers at the National Institute of Health at the University of Texas, Austin, UT, okay, they claim, and I watched the video on this, pretty damn impressive. I wish I could put the link in there so you can check it. It's pretty cool. You can look at the spikes on the virus in 3D. Claim to have made a major breakthrough in the coronavirus research. Scientists were able to create a 3D automatic scale map of the part of the virus that attaches itself to the human cells, causes infections, according to the UT News. Mapping what researchers call the spike protein is a vital step towards developing vaccines and antiviral drugs. Okay, so here's how this thing kind of works. What it does is you've got it, and it's got these little spikes on it, and then it goes over to a cell, and then it puts a spike in the cell, and then it infects the cell, and then there you go. It's kind of like it goes in there and it just shoves itself deep inside of it and dumps its stuff. Wait a minute. I did mention in the beginning, this show is not good for kids. I mean, that's what she said. Okay, so there you go. So what they've done is basically how they're approaching this, and this is the way they're fighting this. Okay, is they're mapping out that spike and all the parts of it in bits and pieces. Because it's kind of like a bomb, okay? And they're analyzing this bomb, and they don't want the bomb to blow up, so they need to figure out which wire is the one that actually stops it. So what they've done is they made a 3D map of it, and they're trying to find the blue wire, or the green wire, or the red wire, or the black wire, the orange wire. They're trying to find which one it is that stops the bomb, okay? And by doing a 3D map, that means they can now physically look at this without having to look through a microscope at it. And they can actually do simulations on it now to see if it works. And trust me when I say this, it sounds kind of boring, but it's actually pretty damn awesome that they're able to actually now 3D map out viruses and diseases and stuff to start running. And they can run simulations on it to see if it works. And then before too long, they'll figure out how to do that with cancer. And then it's that Will Smith movie that I'm drawing a blank on, where you're one of the few people left alive because everybody else turned into zombies. Or freaky, weird, testosterone-driven, on steroids, zombies. But, that's stupid news. No, actually, that's all that there's on there. Because I've got other stuff I want to talk about that I don't have paperwork on. I Am Legend. Thank you. It's I Am Legend. But it's really cool that they're doing this now. And like I said, I'm trying to figure out a way to make science sound interesting. It's difficult. But as soon as I saw the video, I was like, holy crap, man, that's amazing. This isn't new tech, thankfully, but it's awesome. No, it's not new tech, but in the virus world, it is new because it's really hard to map out every layer of the actual virus or the infecting agent of part of the virus. That's very hard to do. It's not something easy to do. Now, you can 3D map a lot of other things, like if somebody's got like malfunctions and they've 3D mapped the brain. However, the problem is that they don't know how it works. And I will tell you that 9 out of 10 women will tell you that men haven't figured out how it works either. The 10th one, she's got the IQ of a dude. That's why she didn't agree with the other 9. But yeah, so in that, I mean, it's really good that we've come this way, that we're 3D mapping now viruses and trying and being able to run simulations on it to see what would actually kill it, instead of just doing human testing. Like, here, let's see if that kills it. No, it killed you. All right, next, rolling the next guy. So we're making leaps and bounds, and the sad reality is some of this stuff, we're getting these leaps and bounds simply because people are dying. And that's unfortunate. But hey, if the professor that they were talking to at UT, if it does what he says, they're literally talking about cutting decades off of cure research. Cutting decades off. What? No, next thing death, camp medicine. That's really, yeah, right. I mean, the last thing I want is outbreak. Because, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool, to have, be in an area where you got like Dustin Hoffman and all them trying not to blow up your town while they're trying to save you, and as long as Morgan Freeman is there, that would be cool. I mean, I could honestly say if somebody dropped a bomb on my house and Morgan Freeman was narrating it, I probably wouldn't care. I'd be like, well, if this is a way to go out, break out the Bush beer, because it doesn't get any better than this. Bush. This show is not sponsored by them, by the way. I couldn't have my last name and have a show sponsored by Bush. Just telling you. Will he get another freckle? Yeah, unfortunately, probably. But I mean, it's great. It's great news. It's awesome technology. And yes, Jackal's right. It's not exactly new tech, but when it comes into the world of dealing with viruses and stuff like that, it's wonderful news. So there you go. All right, so let me. Let's do no. Oh yeah. Okay, so now I want to cover that last thing, and unfortunately, I don't have a shot for that, so I'm gonna just use this panel over here. I hope you guys don't mind so much that I'm just going to borrow another panel. I didn't have enough time to put some of this stuff together. All right, so let me talk to you about something that's come up, and this hits kind of close to home here as well. And it's about bullying. Now, I'm pretty sure that you guys have seen the Facebook video that's floated around. The mom has a son that suffers from fascio. It's called. I had it memorized. I really did. It's a form of dwarfism. Okay. And her kid's being bullied because he suffers from a type of dwarfism. The kid's 8 years old, and he's sitting there talking about how he wants to kill himself. Give him a knife, let him stab himself in the chest. Will somebody kill him and everything else? It's really sad. And the reason why I say that this cuts close to home is because I have a child. Well, he's not a child anymore. He'll always be my child, regardless of what he thinks. That was being bullied in school, and it got really bad. Now, why the correlation between the two? Because this kid that's going around on the video that's been posting around on Facebook. Here's the thing, okay? The mom has gone to the administrators The administrators do nothing. One of the bullying incidents actually happened while she was coming to get her child, and the principal was standing right there and did nothing. Okay? My son was being bullied in his school. In fact, they followed him to his house, to where we were living, and attacked him right outside of where we were at. I went to the school and said, hey, we got to do something about this.
Is a book by Gordon Corman.
I don't seem to remember. Alexa, stop. I don't remember saying her name, but okay. So anyway, I went to the school and went to talk to the administrators, and the administrators did nothing. They told me, oh, since he had just gotten off the bus, once he steps foot on your property, it's not our responsibility. And it was going on in the school. And they said, well, it's not our responsibility because it's not being reported. And I looked at him and I was like, bitch, at this point, I was mad. At this point, I'd lost all my cool. I was like, bitch, I'm telling you right now, I'm reporting it to you. This is happening. I'm tired of my kid coming home with marks on him. And they still did nothing. Luckily enough, an opportunity opened up on the East Coast, and we moved. But I took him out of school a month and a half before we moved. I didn't let him finish the school year. There's just no way. And I went to the news, and we got interviewed by the news in Reno about it. And I threw that school completely under the damn bus. He threw the school under the damn bus. And then what did we get from the interview when they went to talk to them about it? What did we get from the interview? Oh, well, we do everything we can within our power to handle bullying, and it's a real situation. Yeah, they gave me the "if the media asks questions" pamphlet response to the media. They didn't do shit about it. They didn't care. Now, I'm not saying that all school districts are like this, and I'm not saying that all places are like this, but it seems to be happening quite often where the best response to deal with bullying on an administrative level is to fucking ignore that it exists. I mean, hell, this lady's kid got bullied while she was walking up to get him in front of the fucking principal, and the principal did nothing. I did a story a couple years back about a girl who committed suicide because she was getting bullied. I've done many stories on my show about kids committing suicide. Kids, children, killing themselves because the lengths that these other children are going to bully these people. Now, when I was a kid, the bully, kicked you or punched you in the face for your lunch money. And that was usually the extent of it. And why do I say that? Because on multiple occasions, I was the one that got punched for the lunch money. Okay? I didn't care. But then when I got bigger, like I got bigger. Okay? I became the guy in high school that turned around and watched when they bullied somebody. I kicked the shit out of them. Now, am I saying that you should go out there and beat up the bullies? No. But when nobody does anything about it, sometimes you got to make a goddamn stand. And I'm sick and tired of seeing these videos where you've got these kids killing themselves. They're children. Okay? They should not be wanting to kill themselves because they don't want to go to school to deal with what they're going to have to deal with because nothing's being done about it. Okay? They're not doing it. There's story after story after story after story of the school district saying, well, we don't have a bullying problem. Well, yes, you do. The school that I did the news report on my radio show years ago about the girl that killed herself, the school sat there and said, we don't have a bullying problem. Okay. Well, evidently it did. The girl killed herself because she did not want to go back to the school. Now, I'm not going to put 100% of blame on all of it over to this one side because the parents made her go to the school. Now, when I did some research on it, because this is what I said on the news, that hey, but the parents made her go when they could have left her at home. Found out they lived in a state where if they did that, the parents go to jail for it. Okay, they went to the cops. The cops went to the parents and said, "Hey, get your kid in line." But they didn't really have a law that says that they have to legally enforce this, in this way. Now, if the kid would have actually beat the hell out of her, or the kids that were bullying her would have beat the hell out of her, then you could actually charge them. But because it was verbal, there wasn't really anything they could do about it. Since then, a lot of laws have changed. But the schools see our kids more than we do. Okay? And I'm not saying that, because I got teacher friends that are going to say, well, what do you want? It's our responsibility to do this too? Your responsibility is also the safety of my child. Your responsibility is the safety of my child while they're in your care during that time while they're getting an education. If somebody is bullying a child, I expect you to say something about it. I expect you to report it to the administration. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to report that to the administration and let the administration handle it. If the administration then turns their nose up at it, then notify the parents that you've done everything that you can do and let the parents take it from there, because then you can get lawyers involved. And when you start threatening, the administration of a school district that they're going to take money out of their personal pocket, not out of school's pocket, they change their tune real fucking quick when they realize they're going to lose their own money. The school's not going to lose the money. But it's still a problem, and it keeps going on. And I saw this story about this kid, and it upset me. It upset me a lot, because it's like, my God. But then you look at a lot of these kids that are bullying, and you look at their situation. Okay, first of all, if you're a parent out there listening to this show and you honestly believe that the TV set is a babysitter, I wish you didn't have children. Seriously. The television is not a babysitter. If you have a kid that's acting a fool, your kid's acting a fool, but you're one of those parents that goes into the school and says, oh, my kid never does anything wrong. I wish you didn't have kids. Seriously. Because I've had to deal with them. I've watched them. Because I have a 7-year-old that likes to decide at random intervals to just go off the fucking deep end and do shit. Okay, and I'm not one of those parents that goes in and goes, not my little Richard. Hell no. I look right and I go, what do you do now? Okay. And then I got to go home and figure out how to deal with it and try to keep it from happening again. But I've been in the office when I've picked up my kid, and I've heard other parents ripping out principals saying, my kid never does anything wrong. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. You're just picking on my child. And it's like, no, take a look in the mirror. There's where your problem is. It starts at home. Your kids pick up stuff from you. And I've caught and I'm not the greatest example in the world. Any of y'all can tell you that. But I at least try to set my kids down the right path. But some of these kids that are doing this bullying, you look at their parents were bullies. Or the parents are currently bullies that are adults they're bullying. Because believe it or not, and somebody's already mentioned it in the chat room, and it flew by me, and I missed it. Okay? But adults bully other adults. I've seen adults bullying kids. How pathetic is that? And if you know somebody that bullies children, like seriously, if you know somebody that's like that, I'm not saying do it, but you went to go give them a high five and their face got in the way. I'm sorry, there was oil in the ground. That's why they slipped and fell. I tried to grab them. I really did. But unfortunately, I fell on them too. But kids learn. They learn from their parents. And they learn from shit that they should not be watching because it's not appropriate for them to watch because they don't know the distinction between the two. And no, I'm not going to sit here and blame video games, and I'm not going to blame the TV for intentionally doing this. It's not their fault. But you have parents that decide to use a television as a babysitter, and they don't monitor what their children watch. And then they say, well, mom and dad let me watch it, so evidently that's okay. That's where they rationalize this. If mom and dad let me, then that means it's okay. I mean, I'm not the brightest crayon in the world, but at least I figured that much out. Now, I'm not one of those helicopter parents that sits over top of everything they do, and I don't let them do anything. Yes, I let them have experiences. I let them try things, but I'm there to explain it to them if they don't understand. Okay? If they don't understand, if they're watching a TV show and it happens to be something of a sensitive nature and they don't understand, I explain it to them. I don't want them to think, oh, that's perfectly fine because dad just let me watch it. Whatever they're doing. I don't do that. And if you're one of those people that does that with your kids, you're wrong. And bullying happens because of this. Also, bullying happens because you get kids that are abused. You get kids that are abused and then they decide to take it out on other kids. Or they don't ever say that they're being bullied because they think it's okay because it's happening at home. Kids should not be wanting to kill themselves because they're that afraid to go to school to deal with something. Okay, and I realize this is probably a sensitive subject, and I'm going to move on here in a minute. But I'm going to tell you that if your child comes home and tells you they're being bullied and you do nothing, you're not helping. You do everything you can possibly do. We should not have an epidemic of children killing themselves because of the way they're being treated in school, because the people that they hope to trust with their safety are doing nothing. That the people at home that they're supposed to trust with their lives because we brought them into the world are doing nothing. That nobody around them is doing nothing because then they suddenly live on the entire world just became an island and they're the only resident. You know, life gets really sad and lonely when you're the only person on that island. And that's how they compartmentalize it. Well, nobody's doing anything, so I'm here all alone. And then, of course, what happens? So, like I said, it's become a big thing. So, of course, I'm talking about it because I want to keep awareness out there. I want everybody to know that bullying still exists. It's still getting bad, or it's still bad. And y'all need to do something about it. The most important part is that your children know what you're doing and know you are doing everything, and those that are caregivers and love are doing everything. And above all that, no matter how mean the person is, they are not alone. They are loved, and nothing is wrong with them. Yes, if your kid thinks that they're alone on that island by themselves, reassure them they're not. Reassure them not. And I've advocated this for years. Get them into martial arts, get them into athletics, get them into something that helps them tune their body up and allow themselves to defend themselves against this. Teach them how to react both mentally and physically and how to make the two work together. And it'll work. All right, so now let's go on to other news, folks. Other news. By the way, I think I'll talk about two of these. Yeah, I'll talk about two of these. Yeah, I'll do these two, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. Yeah, that's right, phone lines. We're going to talk about phone lines. Wow, that was weird. All of a sudden, the light went up in the on the monitor here. Now you can see my shiny-ass forehead even more than before. You don't want to see that shiny-ass forehead. All right, so, folks, ladies and gentlemen, here is the other news. The other news. All right, so here we go. Hey, look at that. I moved. I'm now on the other side of the screen. It's just I moved the video box. I mean, seriously, it's not that hard. If I can figure it out, anybody can do it. Man who brought a kangaroo into a fast food restaurant was kicked out. All right. A man who brought a kangaroo into a fast food restaurant in Perrysburg, Ohio, says the animal loves cheeseburgers. His kangaroo loves cheeseburgers. The kangaroo's owner told the Snickersy that the 8-month-old animal named Rooney is a pet and thought it would be a special treat to eat out with him. Customers complained about the animal on Friday. Witnesses say the kangaroo was wearing boxing gloves and seemed menacing. If I walked into a restaurant and there was a kangaroo with boxing gloves on, I don't know if I'd find it menacing or entertaining as fuck. Just saying. By the way, for those of you who've never experienced the show, it is uncensored. Let's see. I felt threatened, Christy, of some town over there in Ohio. I can't pronounce it. Don't feel bad. If I ever get one of these stories out of Massachusetts, I'm just going to say everybody that lived in Massachusetts. Trust me, I don't want to get burned. I don't want to get tied to a stake and burned with a basket of Really? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, Rachel's alarm is going off. So the kangaroo was hopping all over the place, and I was afraid he was going to punch someone or like a kickboxer. He was wearing boxing gloves after all. The owner of the kangaroo told police that the gloves were there to prevent others from being scratched by the animal's paws. He also went on to say that the gloves looked cute on the animal. Police asked the owner to leave the burger joint. The kangaroo, being on a leash, did little to persuade the officers to let the animals remain in the restaurant. I wish the person who complained would have just come up and talked to me instead. The animal owner said they would have seen that Rooney is a good boy who loves burgers and fries. Management for the fast food place says that the animal could have stayed there if they were a trained service animal, which it was not. Management for the eatery said all customers, including those with disabilities and special needs, are welcome. Yeah. Okay, if you have a kangaroo that likes burgers and fries, here's the thing. They invented fucking DoorDash or Uber Eats. Okay? Waiter. Grubhub. Post-it. You know, it's not that difficult, people. Well, I wanted to go out with my kangaroo and have a wonderful evening out. You wanted to have a wonderful evening out with your kangaroo. Okay, the fact that you have to put that sentence together, and it's in Ohio? I wanted to have a wonderful evening out to dine with my kangaroo. I can't make this shit up. This is a legitimate story. I didn't make that up. You get kicked first, then punched. Well, yeah. I mean, just imagine you're going into a burger joint. You're like, honey, today I would like to have a double cheeseburger, some fries, and a strawberry shake. You go into the burger joint. You're like, hey, man, I want to get some burgers, some fries, and some shakes. And you're like, you look over and you go, nah, there ain't no damn kangaroo. And then all of a sudden, kablam! And then you've been kicked by a damn kangaroo. And have you ever watched the video of kangaroos when they kick? It's like cool as hell though, because they prop themselves up on their tail, so their feet come off the ground and they kick. And it's powerful as hell. Like I've seen one do that to a person, and they were on the screen in the video shot, and then the kangaroo kicked them, and they weren't there no more. Like some David Copperfield shit. Like they were here and now they're gone. Like Shazam, no person. But what if he wants to play in a jungle gym or the ball pit? I don't know. I'm just the idea that you want to take your kangaroo out for a lovely evening out to a burger joint. That should have been your first clue something was wrong. The fact that you own a kangaroo. I get it. Kangaroos are cool. I've gotten to pet kangaroos. I've gotten to feed kangaroos. They're really cool as shit, but I really don't want one as a pet. I have enough problems with that little white and black fur ball you see running around in the background. I don't need a kangaroo. And first of all, that's the other thing. You're taking your kangaroo to get burgers and fries at the local burger joint. I mean, there's just all kinds of issues there. All kinds of issues. I didn't say Yamish was the only weird one. Well, I mean, I realize I'm weird. I get that. Like, I'll go to a thrift store and put on clothing and then start doing like a thrift store dance around the joint. I do all kinds of. I didn't say, Alexa, stop. I didn't say anything. You lit up. I mean, I'll try on like the fur coats and try to look stylish and everything else, but I'm not taking a damn kangaroo to a burger joint. Nor am I going to take a possum to a place. Or an armadillo, although that would be kind of cool if I could get him to curl up and then I could go bowling with him. But, I mean, oh, wait a minute. They're not like the potato bugs. But still, I'm not taking, first of all, I guess I can't understand because I don't have a weird animal, like, thing. I like basic animals, except I do want a white tiger. Because, I mean, hell, if I'm going to go out, Siegfried and Roy. I mean, seriously. Hey, I willfully admit I am weird. That's why Yamish and I get along so well. Yeah, that we do. All right, so let's go to the next story before we open up the phone lines because I really want to see how this works. Man accused of drunkenly hitting a pedestrian in South Austin, driving with mangled corpse in car. All right, you ready for this story? Austin, Texas, a man accused of drunkenly hitting a pedestrian in South Austin on Saturday night drove half a mile with a body before stopping at a bar, according to the affidavit. Witnesses told police that Paul Joseph Garcia, 24, was driving a 2014 white Ford Focus. Well, there was his first fucking mistake. You know, he's driving a Ford. Then he piled it on with drinking while driving a Ford. Or maybe he was drinking to make up for the fact that he was driving a Ford. He was trying to get over his depression. I don't know. Without headlights and high speed. Let me tell you something. I've driven through Austin quite a bit at night. A lot of them motherfuckers don't drive down through downtown Austin with their lights on. High speed when hit pedestrian Lee Martin Cagle, 55, who was walking near Slaughter Lane. Oh, well, okay, in the middle of the night, walking down by Slaughter Lane's not the greatest freaking idea in the world, because there's people that aren't drunk that will run you over. I drove a truck and people tried running into the back of me while I was driving in that area. The body of the pedestrian reported went through Garcia's car windshield, landing on the passenger seat. The affidavit said Cage had extreme traumatic hand injuries, which resulted in him swiping left on breathing. And some body extremities detached and left in the roadway inside the vehicle before stopping outside of the South Austin beer garden. Witnesses told police he calmly walked away from the car and entered the beer garden on barefoot. Garcia was not served alcohol and was detained for further investigation. Police were called to the scene just after 10:30. So I know that I'm probably going to get this question right here. Well, Yamis, let me ask you, since you used to be a law enforcement officer, would that consider being a hit and run? Yeah, technically. Even though you took the object, the person that you just killed by running over with you, so you didn't leave him there. You took him with you to the beer garden. Unfortunately, they didn't make the trip to the beer garden. They passed away before they got there, and it still technically is a hit and run because you left the scene of the accident. You took the accident with you, but you left the scene where it happened. So yes, it's still a hit and run. I'm pretty sure they didn't charge him with hit and run. Well, no, actually, yeah, they would, because it's still another felony. Because you got DUI caused of death. Okay, you got an accident while DUI, which caused a fatality. Wait, did you say they left body parts in the street? Evidently, there was some appendages that was left behind, so he didn't take all of the scene with him. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I know somebody thought of that question because I know my friends. Well, is that technically a hit and run if you take the scene with you? Because I know damn well some of y'all were thinking that. Okay, it is. It is still a hit and run because you left the actual scene of the crime. Okay. Technically, you could also get him on illegal use or distribution of a biohazard because he continued to drive with the body through town to an alcohol place. Driving a vehicle. Okay, so now you're DUI and the commission of a felony. Transportation of a corpse in the state of Texas without an official permit. It's another felony. I do believe if you could prove he was breathing after the vehicle went while the vehicle was still in motion, you can also get him for what else? Endangering a passenger by not making sure that they're properly restrained with a seatbelt. Dangerous, reckless endangerment, driving in exhibition of speed or in a reckless manner, which could cause the harm or death of your passengers. It's a felony for each one. Negligent homicide, manslaughter. Let's see, failure to immediately render aid that could have saved an individual's life. That's another felony. Let's see, picking up a hitchhiker in that area of town is actually not against the law. I'm still trying to go to, literally, I could think of about 70 different felonies you could get him on. And, I mean, I might be the jackass cop that would actually write him for illegal transportation of a corpse, which is a felony in the state of Texas. Oh, Breaking news. Rachel's second alarm is going off. She needs to get up and get ready for work, but she's going to lay down and hit the snooze button again. So we are going to hear this alarm another time. I would be the one. Because I would just love to see the look on the judge's face when he reads off the charges and sees, illegally transporting a corpse without a permit. I'm serious. It's kind of hilarious. All right. So, but yeah, no, picking up. No, if you get manslaughter, you're not going to get negligent homicide out of it. On that situation, they're not going to put negligent homicide and manslaughter in the same set of charges. They're going to go with manslaughter. No, I mean, they could use negligent homicide as well, but they would go more or less with manslaughter because you operated a vehicle intoxicated, so you know you were already breaking the law, and then you ended up killing somebody in a commission of a felony, which would be a manslaughter charge. Actually, it's just, basically you get them for murder too at that point. With that many charges, I'm pretty sure the prosecution is like, can we just charge him with murder too and be done with it, because I don't want to sit in court for the next 4 days while they have to read through all the other felonies that Officer Wilson over here figured out to write on him. I can see that now. The jury, how do you find the defendant? Well, we define the defendant guilty, and we also find Officer Wilson guilty of being an asshole because illegally transporting a corpse without a permit seemed a bit excessive of a charge. Unfortunately, I feel sorry for the family that this happened. The problem is when you're down in that section of Austin, people could be sober driving down the road and they'll run you the hell over. Yes, it's true. You already knew. You could be sober walking down the street. People in their cars are sober and they'll still run you the fuck over near that area. Slaughter Lane in Austin is no joke. Okay. It's like if you get anywhere near Mopac. Anywhere during where the ramps for Mopac are, you're taking your life in your own fucking hands. Period. Because those fuckers on and off that ramp at 90 miles an hour, even though they're not supposed to be. I watched one dude eat it in a tree one day. I was delivering down there and I was coming off the Mopac off ramp, and this guy came by me so fucking fast that he started skidding as soon as he hit the white stripes where you're supposed to be already in the exit ramp. Slid halfway down the ramp, overcorrected, slid the other way, overcorrected, still didn't hit the brakes the entire freaking time. And then ate it right into a tree. He survived. He broke a few bones because I had to sit there with him until the ambulance got there because I'm the one that reported it. But like I said, if you're over in that area, if you're familiar with that section, any of those areas around Austin, there are some places down there like God help you if you trying to walk anywhere around 270. At that point, I hope you left a note at home telling your parents or telling your family why you decided to leave this world. Geez. Like I said, if anybody that's watching today is in Austin, you will know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. So anybody want to give this freaking phone thing a try? I don't know if it's going to work or not. I haven't tested it out completely with streaming. I've done other things, which means now it's going to get bright as hell because I now have to switch over and I have to give you the phone number for you guys so that way you guys can call. And unfortunately, I think that means I'm going to lose my chat room at the same time. I'm going to try and move all this stuff around, and so that way, because I have to still be able to answer the phone. All right, so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So if you want to call the station, the phone lines are open. I've never had this before. Like I said, I'm hoping this works. So I have a question, but I can't call and watch. Okay, so go ahead with your question then. Remember, this is a delay, so we'll have to wait for a second. Because I understand, folks, if you guys do decide that you want to call in and I'm on the phone with somebody or I'm talking to somebody, because this is a segment of the show where I'm going to open up the phone lines and talk to you guys in person if you can. I know I have some people that are in the chat room or some people that are watching and aren't in the chat room. Still waiting for it to come around for the question. The delay sucks. It really does. But it happens. So anyway, so write this number down if you have a pen and piece of paper there ready. So I don't even know why this is a thing, but they still advertise it anyway. Is there any Democratic nominee that you would consider? What, Trump? Beating Trump, or would consider over voting for Trump? I don't understand that. Like Clinton versus Trump all over again. Is there any nominee that you would consider like Clinton versus Trump all over again? I can tell you right now, if Joe Biden gets a nomination, it's going to be Clinton versus Trump all over again. It really is. It's going to be and Biden's going to lose. Okay. Bernie, if I go down the list, okay, so let's go down the top 4 of the nominees. I'm not even really going to focus on any of the other ones. Okay. If we go down the list, Biden will lose to Trump. Okay. It's just when Biden opens his mouth now, he seems like he just raw sewage. It's not that it's offensive. It doesn't, nothing lines up anymore. He'll get talking about something and then he wanders off into another direction about it. Okay. So unfortunately, Elizabeth Warren, no. That woman can't keep her story straight to save her own life. 1 minute she's an Indian, then she's a Eskimo, and then she's a Viking, then she was an African. I don't know what the hell she is anymore. I don't think she knows. Not to mention the fact she's constantly changing shit she says all the time. She'll piss somebody off and then change what she says, which pisses somebody else off, and then she'll change what she says, pisses somebody else out. Okay. And the bad part about it is nobody really notices until Trump tweets about it, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere everybody's like, oh yeah, you're right, she did say this before and now she's contradicting herself. Buttigieg, like I said, I like some of the things the guy talks about because he talks about unity, trying to get both parties to come together to try and fix things in the world. However, I don't like his stance on guns. I don't like his stance. I mean, I really need another show to break down some of the issues I have, especially like universal health care. Okay. Because I've done studies on universal health care, and I swear to God, sometimes I just want to slap people when they bring up Sweden as an example. And it's like, the state of New York has more people living in it than the country of Sweden. It's not comparable. It's not comparable at all. The other reason why I have an issue with everybody suddenly putting faith in the government about universal health care, these fuckers can't run the post office. I mean, when you really think about it, you're asking a bunch of people we elected in office who now tell us we don't know what the fuck we're doing, that can't run the fucking post office. How hard is that? I mean, FedEx figured it out. UPS figured it out. DHL. Okay. Estes. A bunch of different companies figured out how the process works to get shit across the country into people's front doors. But you want them to control your life and your life expectancy. You want them to make that determination. You got more fucking faith in the government than I do. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, like I said, Buttigieg out of the field would be the closest one I want because, like I said, for me, Bernie Sanders, sure, it'd be great to have the $5,000 bill I still have outstanding over my head in my college tuition because my fucking VA wouldn't pay, my GI Bill didn't work. I'd love for that to go away instead of constantly repopulating on my credit every year. But the cost of maintaining it is not discussed. The total cost is $170 trillion. But the cost of the maintenance of it, that's the problem I have with that. But there's a lot of other things that Bernie Sanders says is really cool and seems to work, and there's a lot of restrictions on your personal life that Bernie Sanders doesn't want to be there. So that too. My problem in my situation is this: I own a business. and I have to pay taxes, and I pay more taxes than you do going to your 9 to 5 or whatever job you have, making whatever you make, because we have two separate types of taxes we have to pay owning our own business. So it's higher than what you pay. Somebody tried to tell me one day it was only like 11% or something. That's incorrect. Okay, pay a lot more than that. That's one tax. And then you got another tax you got to pay. Then you got all certifications. You got all these federal regulation deals that you have to pay for and everything else on top of it. By the time it gets done, it's a lot of damn money for small operations. I don't actually have to pay the IRS that much this year or last year. So I actually benefited. I'm not a millionaire, I'm not even close to that. I'm going to have to borrow money from my girlfriend in order to get my car to work tomorrow. And I own my own business. Okay? But I'm benefiting from the tax cuts, and I'm not a millionaire. Buttigieg would be the closest thing that I would choose to vote over our current president, because everybody else has the outlandish ideas it's going to cost the country 16 times what has been spent by the last 6 presidents, including the current one. Okay? Including the current president. Close to 16 times. Okay? Does that not concern people? Or are we all still wrapped up on but all the billionaires will not be billionaires anymore, because why should they be billionaires? Let me tell you something. I have no problem with Bezos being a multimillionaire. You know why? He busted his ass and created a company that worked. He put together a plan, a system that worked, and people bought into it, and people buy stuff from him, and he makes money. He makes money selling shit online that people want to buy, and half the shit they don't even fucking need. But he found a way to make billions doing it. But he's the devil. Because just like somebody else that's running for president right now, running for the nomination, took advantage of the tax system to be able to not have to pay a lot of damn money, and was able to, and he's the villain. I'm willing to bet if I turn around and gave anybody that hates billionaires $1 billion and then hit them with the taxes the next year, but then told them how they could do these things to keep as much money as humanly possible out of that billion, I bet you they take it. I bet you they take it. Because I ain't found I don't know a single person. I see, there you go. Tax everybody the exact same percent. They're like, well, the rich aren't paying their fair share. And yes, folks, I'll get to the phone lines in a second. Okay? The rich aren't paying their fair share. Really? Because 10% of $1 is 10 cents. Okay? If you have $1 and I have $100, guess what? I'm paying more back than you are. Because 10 cents of 100 is different than 10% of 100 is different than 10% of $1. Yes, it's the same percentage, but the amount of money. Close all the loopholes. We charge you, this is how you made $1 billion last year. Well, you're going to pay 40% of that $1 billion. No loopholes. No nothing. You made $1 billion, you pay 40% back. No figuring out a way, and I know this is going to bore the shit out of you. No figuring out a way that depreciable assets and value loss is allowed to be used as a tax deduction of cost of business operations. Because that's exactly what Bezos did in order to get the write-offs he got. He took the depreciation of value in his company, which is huge, and he wrote that as a business cost as a tax deduction, which wrote off 3/4 of what he owed the federal government. Okay? Eliminate that loophole. Then guess what? He's going to pay a hell of a lot more money than he is now. And I will guarantee you, as long as you don't suddenly are worth over, what is he worth? Like damn near $1 trillion. Okay? You won't be paying the same. Your number won't be the same. I bet you it'll be way less. Just saying. Anyway, let's go ahead and open up the. Okay, Nikani said my issue is more with how some companies pay and treat their employees. Yes, I completely agree with that, and I don't have a problem with the inner cities getting $15 an hour. I don't have a problem with places like actually New York should be getting $20 an hour. Okay, yeah, about between $20 and $22 an hour. I don't have a problem with the state like the city of Detroit where they got to pay $20 an hour. I don't have a problem with San Francisco having to charge $20 an hour. The fucking problem I have is mom and pop's little gas station in Dubuque, fucking Iowa, having to pay somebody $22 a fucking hour when their rent is only $400 a month. That's the problem I have with it. Everybody goes, we need a national minimum wage at $20 an hour. You are talking about systematically destroying a lot of mom and pop countries in the middle of farm country because the cost of living it doesn't require $22 an hour. It's not rocket science. It's pretty easy to figure out why I've lived in places where the cost of living was extremely low, and I've lived in places where the cost of living was more than you could realize. And I had to go work 5 fucking jobs in order to pay the bills. Okay? And I've worked in places where I had 2 jobs and I was able to buy a motorcycle, a boat, a pickup truck, and everything else. Okay? The cost of living is not the same in every geographical location, people. So a blanket, minimum wage is not going to work. It won't work. Because you're going to kill a lot of the small businesses in the middle of nowhere. Okay? And you're going to have the center of the country, your unemployment is going to explode. Your business closures are going to explode in the center of the country because in some parts, there's like a town in Oklahoma where like the average rent price for a 2-bedroom is $400 a month. For a 2-bedroom is $400 a month. You can't get a parking space for $400 a month in New York. You see where the difference is? A 1-bedroom apartment in the city of New York is going to cost you $3,000 to $4,000. Okay, so you see the difference of why I don't have a problem with a minimum wage. I don't have a problem with putting in rules where if employers treat their customers like shit, that they should be held accountable for it. I don't have a problem with that. But the problem is when you add the pay system involved, you have to break down the country in actual in actual locations. You can't just simply say, well, a blanket minimum wage is going to work. No, it's not. Because I could tell you one store right now that employs 2 people besides the 2 owners of that store that would close tomorrow if you made it $20, if you made it $15 or $20 an hour. And I could tell you in that town, that cost of living, because I damn near grew up in that town. I spent more than half of my life in that town. The cost of living in that town does not require $20 an hour to live. I know people that work there that are making $8, $10 an hour, and they're living perfectly fine. Okay, they don't need $20 an hour in the city of fucking Greenwood. Okay, they don't. Now I would say that I know the cost of rent has gone up since then with inflation and every damn thing else. But $20 an hour is not. $20 an hour doesn't work there. $20 an hour really doesn't work that great in New York, but it can get you by. You're not going to live in a mansion. You're going to live in a shithole, but you'll be able to afford the shithole. You won't have to have 4 people. Do you know that there's like the police? I know the police can be sometimes a great thing, and some of my friends, it's a horrible thing. Okay, police living in the state of New York. Okay, do you know the single police officers, the single ones? Do you know that they'll rent a single bedroom apartment and they'll have like 6 or 7 cops living there at the same time because they have to pitch in to pay the rent? Seriously? So I can understand doing minimum wage hikes for your metropolitan areas, your urban areas that are closer to the inner cities and stuff like that. And the inner cities, my God, need fucking help. Trump hasn't done anything about it. Obama didn't do anything about it. Bush didn't do anything about it. Clinton didn't do anything about it. They don't fucking do anything about it. I want a president that actually says they're going to do something for the inner fucking cities and actually do it. That would be nice. You want to tip your hat towards to the Rich Wilson show to get my vote? Fucking fix the cities. Detroit City is the largest urban gun range on the fucking planet. I feel safer walking down the streets of Afghanistan than I do Detroit. That should tell you something. Anyway, let's go ahead and open up the phone line. Folks, you can reach us here at the Rich Wilson Show are you ready for this? I hope you're ready. 352-585-9754. That's right, 352-585-9754. Yes, you did start a rant because I love it when people try to tell me that, no, minimum wage won't cause jobs. Really? Explain that to a mom and pop that owns a gas station in the middle of fucking Nebraska, that they've got to pay anybody they hire $22 an hour when they don't make that kind of money to afford it. Tell me it won't cost a job. Anyway, so there you go. The phone line is open. I think it is. 352-585-9... Oh, no, wait a minute. Sorry. If I gave you 593... Okay. I accidentally clicked the house number. I hope y'all heard that. Is it really stupidly loud? Please let me know if that was stupidly loud, because I think I forgot to turn down the volume setting. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a little bit better. I think that'll be good. So I do apologize if it was like insanely fucking loud. But there you go. So it does work. So the phone line's open. I probably lost every one of my listeners when I went on a rant. Besides like 3 people, maybe. I don't even know. I couldn't right now. I couldn't tell you because I can't look at the analytics right now. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I'm right here. You've got me for another few minutes. Even better locality pay forces companies to disperse locations to cheaper areas, which stop skyrocketing prices in some places. Yes. I mean, you want to talk about somebody did something really fucking stupid. Okay, since we're on this deal while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to call into the show today. Okay, you want to hear something really stupid? Why don't you guys ask the people that live in, yeah, I know it's fucking nightmare. Everything moves away as soon as I do something. Ask those people in New York that were looking forward to the jobs working at Amazon that AOC ran off. You know, the Amazon was going to build in New York's not in the actual New York City. It was up on the northern end. She turned around and ran off Amazon. We were talking about thousands of jobs in New York. Now I know that Amazon doesn't. There's a problem with the way they treat people. Okay, they'll run their people into the ground. They at some of these factories they get treated like robots. So I will say that, and something needs to be done about that. But we were talking about thousands of jobs in New York that are good paying, because when everybody came up with a big debate about $15 an hour, Amazon without anybody. Okay. I'll tell you here in a second. Amazon, without there being a law passed, automatically moved their starting wage to $15 an hour. Okay? Imagine all those people in New York that don't even have a job or are trying to find another job to pay the bills, because God knows $15 an hour doesn't get you shit in New York. They could have had that job. But instead, they don't now because AOC decided to run them off. Because God knows we don't want to put a business over there. We could put high-end housing over there. But yet I'm against high-end people. All right, folks. Again, the phone number for the studio is 352-585-9754. All right, that is 352-585-9754. Now, I will tell you when I answer and hang up on the phone, it makes these loud, obnoxious noises and shit like that, and there's literally nothing I can do. I've gone through every setting I could possibly do, and there's no way to eliminate that noise. So if anybody wants to call the show, it's open. Yes, I'm going. I should probably wait. I don't want to dump fucking all the crap that's in a cigarette into my microphone. It's actually a decent microphone. For the first time, I actually have a legitimate, decent microphone. I still have a cheap ass board over here, but I have a decent microphone. Ha! Now I know what's going on with this thing. So I need to stay over here in order to get the crate pickup. I keep going over here and it sounds weird. Then I go over here and it's clear. So I gotta actually rotate my mic, and I don't want to do that on air because the noises will be insane. What? No, because this it becomes really high pitched. Over here, I've got the bass set to it more, so I actually need to in order to make it a little bit easier for me, I need to adjust the microphone so it can be right here. But what I was trying to do is I needed it down this way, so then that way I could sit with it underneath. Because I like sitting it with my nose just touching the foam, so that I know I'm close enough. So when I'm reading something, I know if I maintain contact with the microphone, I know that I'm maintaining the distance that I need to maintain. People always ask me that when I did my radio show, when they saw pictures of it and it looks like I'm deep throating the microphone. It's because I have my microphone set in a pickup set a certain way where I have to actually be touching it, so I'm mentally aware that the distance is there. I can never gauge if I'm far enough away or if I'm close enough without an actual contact. Like right now, my mustache is hitting the phone, so I know I'm right in that area. Once again, the phone number for the Rich Wilson Show is 352-585-9754. The phone lines are open, and I'll keep the show running for a little bit longer if anybody wants to call up and say hi. Speaking of another thing, I haven't had a chance to research it. I know Jack will ask me about it. I've still got to do some research on it, looking into Virginia on what their whole deal is with e-cigarette liquids, with vape juicing, and I need to read the law. I have a constitutional law degree, so a lot of times I can read those laws and decipher them a little bit better than the average. Oh, look at that. We have a phone call. Well, hello, you've reached Rich Wilson Show. Who am I talking to, and where are you from? Scott from Crystal River. How are you doing tonight? I'm doing all right. So what do you want to talk about? By the way, this is my friend Squib that's calling in, but I'm trying to keep this professional. All right, so you can hear us okay over here? Oh, that I understand. I got you on that one. All right, so what do you want to talk about tonight? Well, hello there, and you have yourself one tonight, and thank you for calling into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Scott. He's over there in Crystal River. Cool. He's a cool dude if you ever get a chance to meet him. I always recommend it. I'm now looking at a large photograph of Yemen. You can't see it, but I'm trying to bring up. There we go. All right, so I don't know if you guys heard that. Please tell me how the sound quality was that came over the video feed. If it sounded good, if it sounded too goddamn loud, I need to turn it down. Just let me know. Like I said, it was a test run. It's the first ever phone call. Hey, look, after 7 years of doing these shows, I finally got a phone call. 3525. No, it's 352-585-9754. So yeah, 352. 352 is the area code. 585-974 is a regular number. Because you call in Florida. For those of you who weren't aware, I live in Florida now. Somebody the other day said, well, I'll come to your house in Mississippi. Well, good luck with that. I won't be there when you get there. So yeah, 352-585-9754. Yeah, that's the number. There if you. Uh-oh. Well, I heard a click and then it went away. Like I said though, it will make a lot of annoying noise and everything else. But where was that? Where was I? I was somewhere. I was off in my own little world. Oh yeah. We're planning on doing this show a lot. I'm planning on doing this show a lot more often. I really like getting back into the swing of this. I really missed being on the radio. I miss being on the radio for all those years. Bill stated the effect of banning all e-cigarette flavors other than tobacco and menthol. Yes, that's where I was. And let me get into that. I'll get into that in a second. I really miss doing this, and every time I get on here, I'm like, and then when I get into it, I just fucking go off, and then I talk for hours on end. Anyway, so Virginia wanted to add to the federal government, federal law, where they were banning the disposable e-cigarette canisters that they have the fluid in it. They were banning the flavors. They wanted you to only have tobacco and menthol, which, I mean, it's kind of stupid. Here's the problem I have with it. It's knee-jerk reactions to a problem that it doesn't even fix. Okay? It doesn't fix the problem. The problem you have here is kids getting black market cartridges that have THC oil in it. Now, what's one of the problems with THC oil? It has vitamin E in it. Okay. I'll get to that in a second. because we had this conversation while we were waiting in line at NXT. I thought the guy in front of us was going to like suddenly quit life because now people were talking politics behind him. He's like, I go to professional wrestling to avoid that goddamn politics. And bitch, there's politics in professional wrestling too. You can't get away from it there either. So anyway, the problem is with THC oil that's in those cartridges, guess what? It has vitamin E in it. And if you take a good look at vitamin E and vitamin E in liquid form and how it works with the lungs, it doesn't work. And that was one of the big problems. That was one of the things that was causing the issues. And I loved the video. And don't get me wrong, I don't wish harm on anyone. But there was that video of that girl, or that picture of that girl on Facebook that was going around that they were sharing, where it says, you know, ban harmful, you know, vaping, e-cigarettes and all that because look what it did to me. Okay, your dumbass went and got black market cartridges. Juul cartridges that have been modified and filled with black market THC oil that has vitamin E in it. Okay, first of all, you're a fucking minor. Okay? It's illegal for you to have them in the first place. Okay, the cigarette law is now nationally 21 years of age thanks to you. Because that got wrapped up in this. Okay? That bill's they've been trying to pass smoking age to 21 for years and it never passes. Why? Because big tobacco pays the government, or pays the congressmen and the senators not to pass that bill. Okay? Well, this last year, because idiots getting black marketing, I mean, I'm sorry, but I really wouldn't count your best friend Joe is a reputable dealer of cartridges with THC liquid in them to vape on. Okay, last time I checked, he wasn't certified to sell nicotine products. When you have to go to a black market in order to get a product that you're going to consume in your body, other than certain cancer research drugs, you really shouldn't. Okay? And I'll get into cancer research drug things on a whole nother time. I don't really want to go down that road. Okay, that's one of the problems I have with this country. The cures to diseases are out there, but goddamn if we don't want to make $1 off of it first. If you have to do this in order to get vaping fluids to be able to vape with, there's a fucking problem. If you're 10 years old and you got a fucking vape sticking in your mouth, first of all, I would love to smack you for doing it because at 10 years old, you know it's wrong. By then, you know it's wrong. You're smart enough to know. And then I want to go smack the crap out of your parents. Now, if you happen to be one of those 10-year-olds that's really, really good and you got a parent that's naive and doesn't search through your stuff like a prison guard, you know, doing a contraband check, okay, then maybe they don't know. But, you know, those of us who are abiding by the law, okay, those of us that are actually abiding by the law, we're the ones that get hurt by this. Because if they ban it nationally, all vaping juices, then I'm shit out of luck. And by the way, one of the things I do want to address is the e-cigarette flavors other than tobacco and menthol. People understand that this is not an e-cigarette. This right here is not an e-cigarette, and the federal government does not classify this as an e-cigarette. Okay? I want you to know that right now. This is exactly what did they refer to this thing as? It is a modulated vaporization inhalation device or some shit like that. They actually have a listing for mods. And this is not, that's why a lot of the vape stores I went to go, well, what the hell are you guys going to do? It's not illegal for us. Why? First of all, it's a tank. On the e-cigarettes, it's a cartridge, not a tank. And then the mod box is not considered an e-cigarette. An e-cigarette is actually, by the government standards, an e-cigarette is, what is it? And some mods do get tossed into this, and You can't remove the battery. I think it's the battery has to be installed permanently, cannot be removed, switched out. And I believe that was one of the classifications. It primarily uses what is considered a cartridge and not a changeable tank. Where like you can, like on this one, you could put 100 different tanks on this thing. But an actual e-cigarette, it has to use a specific type of tank or a container to hold the fluid, or they have what like the Juuls, where it's a full-on cartridge that it replaces. My understanding through not fully researched is VA is targeting the juice for mods as well. And I don't doubt that. Then again, we're also talking about a state that just tried to ban guns. They just basically tried to say, fuck the Second Amendment altogether. You saw how that worked out for them. Luckily enough, that didn't pass. And yes, folks, we will get into the Second Amendment on one of my shows. You know, I would love to sit there and talk to you about how, like, people misunderstand the First Amendment, misunderstand the Second Amendment, misunderstand. Hey, look, I got a phone call. All right, here we go. Thank you for calling the Rich Wilson Show. You've got Rich Wilson. Who am I talking to, and where are you from? Well, you can use your game name and just fucking tell me that you're in Timbuktu or part. Oh, or you can go old school wrestling and say from parts unknown. All right. So what's going on? What do you want to talk about tonight? Okay, well, first of all, you are you like outside in a wind tunnel? Okay, hold on. I got people saying they can't. I got people just saying they can't hear the caller. So, all right, give me a second. Let me turn this up. All right, this should be working. I don't know why it's not. Hold on. Wait a minute. Time out. I bet you. Go ahead and say something now.
Something.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I had the. I now I know why they couldn't hear Scott. Give me a second. I got to turn the volume back down again. I did not click the desktop audio input, so now I should have you completely. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that question for me, caller from parts unknown.
So you've addressed flavors for vaping, and the smoke industry has already been targeted for removing flavors that are appealing to children. But I want your thoughts on why this may or may not be a problem, considering things such as the alcohol industry is perfectly fine, still making cotton candy vodka, which we all know no adult drinks.
Okay. All right. So, first of all, the liquor industry is a whole different animal. The liquor industry still, unfortunately, is still maintained in a large percentage by the mafia. So you can kind of imagine where that goes. Still, part of me thinks I got this turned down way too low. Okay, so there goes my screen again. Sorry, I'm not professional. No. All right, so one of the other, and you have a point. Okay, that we're going to sit here and blame we're gonna ban cotton candy flavored e-juice, but we're not going to ban cotton candy vodka because you can make the same argument. Well, kids could be attracted to the flavor of that. Well, if you have any kids that are attracted to cotton candy flavored vodka, you're a schmuck, and your kids are a schmuck. But that's beside the point. I understand that, and yeah, it's not exactly fair. In that matter, but the problem is when you get into alcohol versus the liquid vaping liquids, you're talking about a whole different change of money. The government's not going to fuck with the alcohol industry. They're really not. They did that once before with prohibition, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah, because alcohol keeps us docile, right?
Exactly. But no, the thing is what I don't understand is we spent all this time, focusing on e-liquids and we focused our time on, other things, but why is cigarettes still legal? Cigarettes actually fucking kill you. They've proven it. But cigarettes are still legal. But we can ban e-liquids, and we can, but we're not going to ban alcohol that has flavors that are attractive to children. And here's the reason why they won't. It's called money. Tobacco companies spend a lot of money on government. They spend a lot of money. They put a lot of money in the pockets of your senators and your congressmen. Alcohol puts a lot of money in your congressmen and your senators. That's where your problem is. Common sense does not apply when you're making millions of dollars keeping something legal. And
it explains the change in gun laws lately too.
Yeah, see, when you're a senator or congressman and you're only supposed to be making like $100,000 a year, but suddenly you can now make $4 or $5 million a year by making sure you keep it legal, it becomes real easy to start paying people off. And that's the reason why you don't have them going after certain flavors of alcohol, and why you don't have them going after and you don't have them going after tobacco. Tobacco is proven that it kills you. I mean, I know I smoke and I shouldn't. I mean, God knows, pot calling the kettle black here. But it kills you. It's proven. Okay?
I just want my dark chocolate orange Camel cigarettes back, man. That's all.
Camel's not going to do that because you were probably one of the few people that was actually buying it, and it was a lost cause. Okay?
They're delicious.
I mean, I finally convinced my local gas stations to carry Camel White Blue Box because I smoked those. I'm the only person here in Brooksville that evidently buys them. But like I said, I understand your point, and it makes perfect sense. The only problem with your point is you're talking about literally hundreds of millions to almost billions of dollars involved. And
see what you're saying? It's really a campaign finance reform problem. That would be an awesome show to do one night.
The problem is you're talking about 360 lawyers, and you're going to try and tell them that now it's a campaign finance law, which puts them all in violation. You'll never get that by, because now you're asking the beast to cut his face off to spite his nose.
Yeah.
And as long as there is money involved, common sense never gets used. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Rich. Have a good night, man.
Do you have anything else before I let you go?
I could chat all night long, but no, I'm going to open up the line and let you have some fun tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, darling. Have yourself a good night.
Have a good night, man.
All right. So hopefully everybody heard our caller from Parts Unknown. I hope it sounded okay. I had to keep working on the volumes. I realized in order to take phone calls, I have to have desktop audio. Here's how this works. If you want a piece of technical information before I sign off for the night, okay? In order for all of this to work, this condenser microphone has to be powered by a board that I've got sitting over there, okay? And I got a bunch of wires and knobs and screws and everything in that, and I have to have all the dials set a specific way in order for it not to sound like I'm blowing every speaker you have out. And then I have a set of wires that goes into the microphone port on my PC. In order to take phone calls, I have to run the outbound speakers, or to the surround sound system, I have to run the line from that back into the board as another microphone. Well, where I screwed up is on the broadcasting software that I have Mic Auxiliary, which is this, and then the desktop audio, which would be the phone call. And so none of y'all heard Scott because my dumb ass forgot that I have to turn desktop audio on in order for that to work. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every single window file and turn that on, so when I finally do, I don't have to remember to click on it. Because it won't make any noise whatsoever unless my computer decides to do something random and make noise. But anyway, I'm going to make one. I think we're pretty much done. I've done this show now for 2 hours and 15 minutes, which I think is absurdly long. There's people at home that have fallen asleep. Their heads are on their desk for one of two reasons. Either one, I bored you so much that you fell asleep. Or two, you were banging your head against your desk so damn bad because I sound like an idiot that you knocked yourself unconscious. I hope it's the first one and not the second one because I don't want to be responsible for your concussion because I don't have any limited liability insurance to be able to take care of you. So you're kind of shit out of luck. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. You'll notice quite often I don't look up at the camera. When I was doing a radio show, my eyes kind of they'll do this, but they don't ever look up for some reason. So a lot of times I got to remind myself, Rich, look at the camera. There's people watching you. So anyway, but let me go ahead so we're going to go ahead and end the show. And what I'm going to do here, because now the phone lines are closed, because believe it or not, the phone line has to be open in order for me to take calls. Otherwise it won't work. I don't understand it, but screw it. I don't have to pay for it. I'm not going to bitch. Okay. No, trust me, I'm not camera shy by any means. All right, so let me leave you with a final thought. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the things that we've learned is that when you try to apply common sense, first of all, hold on. Let me address something. Nikani said, I will vote for your bill if you add this bit to it. Now, are you talking about now I'll vote for your bill. What specifically a part of that were you referring to? Are you talking about where it's the campaign finance reform, where they can't take money?
No, literally, if they want something added.
Hold on a second.
Literally, if a congressman or senator wants something added to a bill, they can go to the person who has the bill in question and say, if you add this little line to your bill, I will vote for it.
Okay, you were talking about this is how they get bills passed. Yeah. I'll give you this if you vote for my deal. Or, hey, I'll vote for your deal if you give me this, if you get it. That's why I have no problem with line item veto. I have zero problem with line item veto. Everybody gave Bill Clinton all kinds of shit for that. Everybody gave Bush shit for it. What a line item veto is, before the president signs off on it, he can go through the bill and start marking shit out and going, no, I'm not approving this, I'm not approving this, I'm not approving this. I like that. I'm not approving this, I'm not approving this, I'm not approving this. But everybody sat there and said it, hey, it is what it is. So, again, give me a second. Thank you. Love you. Bye. All right. See you later. That one that says, get your ass out of bed with the alarm while I'm on the show? Yeah, she's leaving. She's going to work. All right, so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, all right, so final thought for tonight. Okay, we live in a messed up, crazy world where, even the people that tell you they're all about getting rid of the rich people are still getting rich. People need to take, what we've learned from today is people need to take time to think for themselves. Understand that when it comes, it hasn't died yet. Okay. But understand something. A lot of people in this world turn to news outlets for guidance, and they believe every damn thing they say. One of the and this is why I said I would come back to this later. When I did my top 10, there was a specific part in that top 10 I said we'd get back to later, and let me explain to you what it is as soon as I figure out what I did with the top 10 list. There it is. I found it. AP Bill Barr. He is the Attorney General. Yes. Okay. Talking about the resignation because him and Trump don't see eye to eye on the enforcement of the DOJ. And a lot of it has to deal with, and I forgot his name now because I've talked about so much shit that it's gone. Anyway, about the sentencing on whether or not he was going to get 9 years for lying or 3 years, whatever. He got 3 years. He got sentenced 3 years and like 4 months. Okay. But everybody everywhere is running this story, and I know you can't read that, about how he's considering resigning. Okay. Except, have you noticed, none of those organizations, none of the news agencies are actually interviewing him. Holy crap, I got crap in the mail. That's awesome. I think this is adult-oriented. I'm not sure. It came from Wish. So anyway, nobody's actually Barr hasn't done an interview. But yet, CNN, headline news, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, like anybody really watches NBC anymore. All running news stories that Barr is talking about resigning. He ain't told nobody he's resigning. He ain't talked to anybody about resigning. The only person that I would legitimately believe what they say about something Bill Barr says is his secretary, his public relations secretary, who's been out there and has told them, no, he's not discussed resigning with anyone. Now, we could be completely wrong and tomorrow he resigns, but he hasn't discussed this with anybody, with no one. It's kind of funny that there's 4 different people that work in the White House that the press keeps trying to say that they talked about resigning because the president has tweeted something poorly about them. And don't get me wrong, don't even get me started on that shit. Somebody take the goddamn phone out of his hands. So anyway, it's like everybody's in a race to break the news before the news ever breaks. And unfortunately, it's leading people down the wrong path. Did I seriously pull out 2 of these while I was talking? Okay. And people are believing it. They're buying into it like it's reality. They're believing. I mean, my God, Wolf Blitzer said it. It's got to be real. Anderson Cooper said it on 360. My God, it's got to be real. But I'll remember one of them in a second. Sean Hannity said it. It's got to be fact. No. No, that doesn't mean that it's fact. Now, we'll tell you, I've met Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity will tell you his show, he does opinions on the shit that he sees, and it's an opinion. So at least he's willing to admit it. Anderson Cooper will tell you that he's telling you the facts. Mad Cow will tell you she's giving you the facts. At least Hannity will admit, no, it's an opinion. I'll tell you some of the facts with his opinion, but it doesn't mean that he's 100% right. And if anybody madly follows Sean Hannity, you're an idiot. People have put themselves in a pen and made themselves sheep. Don't be the sheep. Look it up for yourself. Do the research for yourself. It's all right there. My God, I am doing a 2.5-hour radio show, video show, on the fucking internet. Did you know that 40 years ago, doing this kind of a program required a college degree, a contract, and a staff of people, and every damn thing else, and everything I did had to be approved through committees before I could even be here to talk to you? Today, I don't need any of that. I could be sitting there in your living room while you're naked in front of your computer and you're staring at me. If the last 2 things I just said are accurate, I'll find a psychologist for you. But I'm just saying. But it doesn't, and I'm not going to tell you that everything I say is fact. Okay, I'll read you the stories that I've got, and I'll give you my opinion on it. But I want you to go out there and research it, and you make a decision for yourself. So my final thought on this is stop being sheep. Stop being led around by one side or the other. Make your own informative decisions. Everybody I talk to that is on one side of the fence, okay, swears to God because I voted for Donald Trump in the last election because there's no way I could bring myself to vote for Hillary Clinton, then I'm a fucking Nazi. Okay? Then I'm a Nazi. I'm a white supremacist. Now, I understand. I have blonde hair, blue eyes, and I'm pretty goddamn white. And being a historian, according to the superior race, I fit the bill. But if you know me, you know that's not how I am. But the only reason why you say this is because the sheep mentality has said we're going to label every single person this way no matter what. because you have a different opinion, and the right side it gets just as bad at this. We have moved to a world. This is where I get mad. We have moved to a world where information is at our fingertips, and we have become more fucking lazy than we ever have. Billions and billions and billions of ways to find out information, and we've become a society that's fucking lazy because we require our daily lives on an organization of people that sit in a building and tell you the news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on fucking Christmas, and we expect them to tell us the truth. We expect them to tell us nothing but the truth. But if you notice, we don't hear the stories of the good shit that goes on. Why? Because they still live by the same policy that they used to do in the newspapers back in the day. Long, long times ago. If it bleeds, it reads. And people have the audacity to sit there and quote news organizations like they are the end-all be-all of all the facts in the universe. And you know why? Because it's easy for somebody else to report it to you. Now, I have 2 friends left on my Facebook page that I actually get involved in conversations. And I will tell you, one of them, and I'm not going to say her name, is very, very thorough about what she argues with you about when you try to take a stand against something she's saying because you don't believe she's right. You will go through a monotony of just link after link after link after link after link because she does her own research. She doesn't just listen, and that's why I listen to what she has to say. Because she's not sheep. I don't care if you go out and do this tomorrow and you become a liberal. I don't care if you go out and do this tomorrow and you become a conservative or an independent or a constitutionalist or the fucking dude that ran for office with a boot on his head. I don't care. What I care about is you being informed and you making a decision for yourself. And you're not one of those people who's going to show up at the National Monument with a vagina strapped to your head. Don't be that person. Don't have a vagina strapped to your head. Don't strap a penis to your head. Unless that's you. Then okay. But if it's somebody else, you doing it makes you a sheep. Be yourself. That's all I'm saying. That's my final thought for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for being a part of the show tonight. Just a heads up. If I get into final thought and you start popping up information on me, I don't want it to go to waste. So make sure you keep thought of that. So the next show when I open up the floor, you can bring these things up. Say, hey, last show you did this conversation about this. I found out this information. Because when I get a final thought, I'm not going to go back. I've closed the show off for the day. Even though he's the guy who did is literally sitting right next to me. You know, I still have to let you guys know that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful night. Remember this: life is short. Go to everybody that you care about, and before you go to bed tonight, before you close your eyes, make sure the ones that are important to you told them that you love. If you can give them a hug, give them a hug. If you can send them a text message because they're somewhere else that you're not, send them a text message. Send them an instant message. I mean, fuck, we have the internet. You can talk to somebody in Yugoslavia like that. Tell the people you care about that you love them because you never know. Tomorrow morning you may wake up and they're not there. You can always say, I'll get to it tomorrow. Sometimes tomorrow never comes. I love you guys to death. Thank you for listening to the show tonight. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the world famous Rich Wilson Show. I had an outro, but I don't anymore. It's gone. So anyway, I don't have a song to send you off with. Probably created enough copyright infringements as it is. So anyway, have yourselves a good night. Don't do what I wouldn't do, which doesn't leave you much room for error, folks. But anyway, with that being said, we're gone. Bye-bye. See ya. Yeah.